and gentlemen, welcome to New Orleans. Please remain seated with your seatbelt.
Cafe crew, it's Colin Smith here from photoshopCAFE, and right now I'm at Photoshop World 2018. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find some of the top Photoshop artists, maybe you guys will know some of these guys, and I'm going to do what I did with the photographers. I'm going to ask them 3 questions. The first one is going to be, how did they get their start? The second one is, how did they stay inspired? And then the third question is going to be a wild card based on the other 2 answers. So without further ado, let's jump in and talk to them right now.
So hi, I'm Glyn Dewis. I'm a photographer, but I'm also a retoucher. Love using Photoshop. I've been using Photoshop, I guess, for about 10 years, something like that. Now, I never actually intended to be a photographer or a retoucher. I kind of fell into it. I've got an uncle in my family who was always the family photographer, and he knew that I liked computers. One day he was visiting my mom's house, called me over because he had his laptop and showed me a piece of software and said, check this out, I can get rid of red eye. I saw it and I was hooked. So I got a copy of Photoshop at the time, and it kind of went on from there. I ended up coming out to the States, going to Photoshop World, went back to the UK, ended up getting work coming in because I seemed to know how to use Photoshop, and then it kind of went on from there. So love doing the retouching, the photography then came into it, and yeah, but so I guess I'm kind of 50-50 when it comes to it. 50% photographer, 50% retouch using Photoshop. What keeps me inspired every day, to be honest with you, is I'm a huge believer in having personal projects. I think one thing I've always done is looked at other people's work. So I always find someone whose work that I absolutely love. Prime example, someone like Annie Leibovitz or Mark Seliger. I'll go online, places like Pinterest, and I'll search and I'll collect their pictures. I look at them, and that's what gives me ideas. And it was when I started doing that I then came up with a 1940s project. And that's an ongoing project now that I'm constantly creating pictures for. And that just keeps the excitement in this for me, because what I found was, if I only worked for clients and I was only doing what clients wanted me to do, it kind of stifled my skill level and my creativity. If I have a project on the side, it's always with me in the back of my mind, and that's what keeps me excited, and that's what helps me to push on to learn new things.
So your wildcard question is, what if you suddenly had unlimited resources and you could do anything you wanted to do? What would you do?
What? If I had unlimited resources?
Okay, so you won the lottery. What would you do?
Oh, now, do you know what? That's if I had unlimited resources. If I've won the lottery, what would I do? I'd try to buy more time. Time for me, as I'm getting older, I'm starting to realise that it's not things that are important to me. It's actual experiences, time and memories that's important to me. So one thing, and this isn't related to photography or Photoshop, it's more related to a personal thing for me, is getting to spend more time with my wife, and to do photography and Photoshop only because I enjoy it, not because I also have a business. So to do it just because I want to, no other reason, that would be ultimate.
Hey, I'm Matt Kloskowski, a photography educator based out of Tampa, Florida. I got my start in Photoshop. I was working for a construction equipment company. The marketing and advertising department was really, really busy, and they couldn't make any flyers or ads for me to hand out, so I got a copy of all the images I needed, and I got a copy of Photoshop and started making my own advertising material. And for me, the main thing as an educator is I hear from other people. I hear from people that are that I teach that it helps. So, you know, I'm the kind of guy, I've got nothing tied to my photos. I could care less if somebody says they like a photo, but when somebody says they like a class, that's the kind of thing that, you know, once I hear that, then I want to make another class and I want to help more people.
So what would your advice be for somebody wanting to learn? Like, what would be the steps that you would, a process for learning? Like, should they be shooting? Should they be watching tutorials? Should they be reading books? You know, what would be a good process for people to learn?
I'd say, you know, one of the most important processes for learning is just keep moving forward. I always kind of think about, you know, my guitar playing. You know, I play the guitar, and what happens is sometimes I'll keep reading things, I'll keep watching videos, and I'll keep reading and watching and reading and watching, and I realize I'm not doing. And so I think one of the most key parts of the whole thing is you have to keep moving forward. You have to watch something, learn something, and then do it. Don't get into that habit of just becoming the person that knows a lot about it, but you have to do it, and you have to do it over and over again.
Hi, I'm Roberto Valenzuela. I'm a photographer in Beverly Hills, but I have my studio in Los Angeles now, and I am a fashion, editorial, beauty, and wedding photographer, and I love it. Kind of funny, I never even owned a camera in my life, but I used to be a high school economics teacher, and the President of the United States gave all the business teachers in the United States a grant to have our students build an actual business. Instead of learning from textbooks, they wanted to learn from real experience. So my students chose photography, and I had to go and find out what photography was. And I had to order my first cameras, and I didn't even know that the body and the lenses is disattached. Didn't even know what an SLR was. So it was an uphill battle for sure, and it was a very steep learning curve. But ever since that decision was made by my students, the rest is history. Because photography is freaking awesome. It's basically a combination of arts, technology, creativeness, mathematics, science. It's like if you know photography really well, then you can study flash photography really well. Then you're a master of that, and then you're like a grasshopper when it comes to like strobes and studio lighting. So then you have to go learn all that, and that just opens it up to a whole new world of fun. Then when you master studio lighting and strobes, then you need to go and try to learn how to do like Capture One and how to do raw editing software. And then so now you're learning all this stuff. And as all these skills start to accumulate, your creativity gets better and bigger, and more stuff starts happening, and it just becomes like a never-ending thing of fun. And then you have to learn Photoshop, and then Photoshop is like a never-ending software. And so, man, if you never want to be bored in your life, photography is the solution. It's been the solution for me. It's been awesome. I love it. It's like the greatest industry in the world.
I think here's your wild card. Do you think anybody can be a great artist, or is it a gene that some people possess?
Considering how crappy of a photographer I was when I started, I think anyone can be a pretty darn good artist. I think being an amazing artist, I still think people can do it. I think there has to be some sort of natural inclination for the arts and for be able to visualize ideas and stuff. Some people are just not used to doing that. But I bet you that if you do try to visualize things and to be creative, if you drive home on a different way from work every single day, you increase your creativity. If you do something in a different way every time, you will increase that muscle memory in your brain to become more creative. And photography is the same. You never stay on automatic. You always do something different. And I think your muscle memory as an artist starts to increase, and then you become a great photographer or a great photographic artist. So I do actually believe anyone out there, no matter how terrible you may be, you can actually become one of the world's best and most recognized photographers and artists in the world.
Okay. Hi, my name is Julieanne Kost. I work for Adobe Systems as a product evangelist for the DI team, the digital imaging team. I actually got my start back in 1992. I went to work for Adobe in technical support, and if you ever want to learn a product, there is no better way than answering questions for 8 hours a day. For me personally, I get a ton of inspiration from reading, so I constantly try to read, and then anything that I read, any words that create some kind of visual, I jot those down and I kind of store them in a little inspiration bank, so that whenever I come up with nothing and I need some inspiration, I just go there and reread those words, and they usually create a visual that I can then draw from.
It's a wild card question. Inspiration bank, what is that? How do people start?
An inspiration bank, what is it? Well, it can be anything, right? It just depends on what kind of things you're collecting. So for example, if you see something on the screen because you're scrolling through something on your phone, I would take a screenshot of that and then put it in a little inspiration folder. Or for me, when I read something with like a Kindle book, I'll just highlight it and then go online, and you can actually get all of those highlights, and then I just put them into Evernote so that I always have them with me no matter where I am.
My name's Dave Cross, and I am a Photoshop educator. I actually, many years ago, back in like 1986, was working for an Apple dealer, and they needed someone to teach this new program called Adobe Illustrator. So I did, and then Photoshop came along, and I realized that I really enjoy teaching that kind of stuff, and I just honestly never stopped since then. I think it really comes down to the students. When you see at an event like Photoshop World or anywhere else, when you get to see the reaction of a student when you help them with something or they understand a function they never did before, it's that satisfaction of knowing that you help people understand something.
Okay, so someone wanting to get started in this for career, like doing the work, what would your advice be to them?
As an instructor, I think a lot of it, some people are just natural born teachers or educators who have an ability to share information with other people. So the first part was just knowing whether you're cut out to do that kind of stuff, because having great knowledge of the product, of the software is important, but I think more important it's that ability to empathize with people and understand where they're coming from, and look at the work of other people that you like as instructors and see what they do and their style and see if you can learn things from that.
Hello, my name is Russell Preston Brown. I work for Adobe Systems, and in fact I've worked there for 33 years at Adobe Systems. I've had a variety of jobs, starting as Senior Creative Director, transforming into an evangelist, and now I'm into special projects at Adobe Systems. I got my start in the graphics industry by going to school first, Art Center College of Design. Then I moved on. It's like a stepping stones. You get your first job at a small graphic agency and you get fired, which is the best thing that happens in life, because getting fired means you shouldn't go in that direction. Then you redirect yourself and you find your second job, which was the right place to be. And the very fact that I'm sitting here answering these questions means that I went in the right direction. And so now you're on your second job and you move to your third job because you think computers are interesting, so you work at Atari. Yeah, and so as a graphic designer at Atari, making in-store displays to attract young 14-year-olds to buy computers to run games. Then you discover that computers are really interesting. It's 1982, and you see this Macintosh forming, and you think, I should go work for Apple, the next stone. So you're now working at Apple Computer doing graphics, and you can draw a circle with a computer and print it on a page, and it looks nice and clean. Then you go, who's making this? How is this possible? It's a company called Adobe. Adobe has 37 employees, and I go there and apply for a job as their first graphic designer. I become employee number 38 at Adobe Systems in 1985. Bing! And I haven't left since. So that's how I got started at Adobe, starting from school. I'm so fortunate to be living right now, and the thing that inspires me the most is new technology. And each day, something new comes out. This thing, Lordy, a smartphone, is the most amazing thing that came out that changed everybody's lives. But it has to come down to new cameras, new phones, new technology, new software. That's what inspires me. There's not a week that goes by without something new coming out that you can then use or leverage for creativity. That's what inspires me. It's right now. This couldn't be 50 years ago. It's right now. Right now, it's all happening.
Okay, so your wild card question.
Wild card question. The wild card question.
How can people be creative?
Wow. It was asked me once, it says, Russ, you're so creative. I'm just a chef at the restaurant, or I change tires. I'm a short order cook, or I work at the front desk of a hotel. You're creative. I could never be that creative. I want to hit them. Everybody can be creative at their own job. It requires stepping out beyond the normal. Don't follow the rules. Step outside that imaginary box. If I'm at the front desk, be the best person at the front desk. Be the most creative person. Be the person that everybody wants to talk to. That's where you be creative. Illustrators, designers, we know how they're being creative, but they can be more creative as well. Really step beyond what others are doing and do something special, and find one niche and become the best at that niche. It's a classic line that's always said, fall in love with what you love to do, become the best at it, and people will come find you and pay you to do it. It is classic, the classic creativity. Challenge yourself Never sit on your butt. The one key thing is sitting on your butt waiting for the phone to ring because someone's gonna call you to be creative. Nope. Assign yourself a super creative project that no one would ever hire you to do, but you hire yourself to do it. Hire yourself to make a poster. Hire yourself to do an ad campaign, and someone will come see that and think. The trick is you make it look so real that it looks like you worked for Apple and you look like you worked for Nike, but you never did. And so that's how to be creative. Take it. Get wild, get crazy, have fun.
Hi, my name is Jesus Ramirez. I am a designer, YouTuber, and instructor. How did I get started? I got started with design through drawing and art. I used to draw a lot when I was in school. I used to draw a lot of comic books. So actually the very first time that I opened up Photoshop was to scan a drawing I did of Spider-Man into Photoshop so I can color it and paint it in. So that was the first time I've ever used Photoshop, and that love of art and drawing led me to design. I think that a lot of my inspiration comes not necessarily through something specific, but more of a motivation to do something better than whatever it is the last project that I work on was. So it's just pushing myself to perform better, do something better, create something better than before, and that's what keeps me going, just trying to push myself to the next level.
So if you were going to give advice to a younger artist who's just getting started in Photoshop and wants to make a career out of it, what would your most important piece of advice be to them?
Practice. Practice. It doesn't matter if you have a degree or what degree you have, or even if you don't, you need to constantly practice. I consider this career a lot like being a professional athlete. You constantly need to keep practicing and improving. Just like a professional athlete, you may need coaches to teach you and help you in certain areas. So yeah, just keep practicing and keep working hard.
What's up, everybody? My name is Elia Locardi. I am a full-time world travel photographer, and right now I'm at the multi-international super mega destination that everybody travels to in the world, Orlando, Florida. How did I get started doing what I do? Well, first, I should be clear and let you guys know that I have no idea what it is that I do or what I'm doing. But I got started in the path of becoming a photographer simply by traveling and getting inspired by the destinations that I wanted to visit my whole life. And when I started traveling, I decided that I had to pick up a camera. And when I did, it just kind of clicked, so to speak. I hate that pun, but it's true. And after a series of years just being out there in the world, I decided to sort of take it to the next level and find a way that I could create a business around it. And now I'm just traveling around and taking photos full time. Staying inspired is really difficult, but being a travel photographer, I get to be inspired by the destinations that I visit. So a couple months ago, I was in Patagonia. 2 weeks ago, I was in Spain, and the destinations change, but I always look for things that inspire me, whether that's a beautiful landscape in South America or a beautiful seascape in Greece, or somewhere like Japan, where I'm simply inspired by the energy I'm getting walking through the streets of Tokyo. The destinations themselves are what keep me inspired.
So travel back in time 10 years, one piece of advice to your younger self.
Piece of advice to my very young self is wear sunscreen. That was very important. Piece of advice to my younger photographer self is it's not a race. The most important thing is, yes, be productive, yes, get things done, but make sure you take time to enjoy all the places that you visit and the whole process along the way. Sometimes we're so focused on the end result and building business, building connections, or even just building social media that we forget that it's walking that path and getting there that's the most important and the most beautiful element of the whole thing.
I'm Naomi Locardi. I'm a full-time travel and destination photographer, and I'm here at Photoshop World. Actually, I blame Elia Locardi for that. I dabbled in photography a lot when I was younger, and when he got serious about it, I kind of I don't know, it's like bad, start that over. So I really got serious about photography about 3 years ago, and from traveling the world full time, that was my source of inspiration, and the rest is history, I guess. I find my inspiration from the places that we go, the people that we meet, and the things that we see around the world, different textures and a feeling of a place that really I draw my inspiration from.
Okay, so if there's somebody who's got a camera and they love to travel and they're like, you know what, I'm going to be a travel photographer. Mm-hmm. What's the one thing that you've learned that you would say, man, I wish I'd known that 3 years ago?
3 years ago. it's important to follow your inspiration, because when you are photographing places that inspire you, that give you a sense of feeling like, that really you connect with, it's easier to translate that into the work that you're capturing.
Nice to meet you, everybody. How are you doing? This is Unmesh Dinda, and I've created more than 350 YouTube videos on learning Photoshop. I got started just 2 years ago. I wanted to help people, reach as many people as possible, and at one point in time I was creating a video every single day. So how did I get started with Photoshop? Well, I got started when I was 8 years old, and my father bought my family's first computer, and he used to do desktop publishing, so he introduced me to Photoshop, and it was, I guess, 6.0. And I got hooked into it, just like a video game. Other kids were playing all those shooting games, Road Rash, Contra and stuff, but I got hooked into it. And I used to do fun stuff. I mean, I'm changing heads of families and stuff, and that's how I got started. I have to say that the most important thing that keeps me inspired is when I receive messages from people, is that, like, I got a job because of you. I learned so much from you, and it has helped me pass an examination or achieve something. When I do something that help other people achieve stuff, and when I really actually help people that impact them, that's what keeps me going.
The question I'm going to ask you is, for someone starting out and they feel like they're frustrated, like they're feel like, man, I'm just not getting it, what's your advice to them?
My advice would be, get frustrated. Because I used to get frustrated all the time. And I used to get to a point where I got so frustrated, I'm gonna do it. Even if I don't sleep, I'm gonna do it anyhow. I mean, you got so frustrated that you have to do it somehow. And in that frustration, you find so many new things accidentally. That's how you learn. I mean, now you have Google, right? So that's what I do. Anytime I get frustrated, this is just not happening, I keep on Googling, keep on trying, and I get frustrated to the point that I have to do it. I mean, I just have to, I cannot sleep without doing it. I cannot eat without doing it. So that's how I go about it.
So my name is Meredith Stotzner. I'm a product manager for the Photoshop team at Adobe Systems.
What's up, Josh?
So if we go way, way back, I had a free camera from Time magazine, and that is how I first got into photography. And then I ended up at Adobe, kind of a long meandering path, but it's totally where I belonged. And just kind of fell on my knees and did the "we're not worthy" the first time I drove up to the building for the interview. It was fabulous. That was 19 years ago. So honestly, it's all of our customers. I see so much work that our customers do, and videos that people post, things up on Behance. It's amazing. I learn something new every time I talk to one of our customers.
Okay, so here's your wildcard question for you is, because you've been doing this for 19 years, how do you stay passionate about something when you've been doing it for such a long time?
Gosh, that is a good question, but like I said, it goes back to, there's always something fresh and new. The product is evolving, the technology is evolving. People come up with, they say that there's no new art, but there's new stuff all the time, and that's inspiring.
Hi, I'm Corey Barker. I'm a Photoshop instructor and founder of Master FX Training. How did I get my start? I was a working graphic designer years ago, and I was a NAP member. If everybody remembers, National Association of Photoshop Professionals, they're the ones that originally started Photoshop World. I was a member, and one day on their site, they were making a call for the next Photoshop guy. So I was like, maybe I can do that. So one thing led to another, and I was hired and got into the world of teaching, and I've been doing it ever since. And that was around 2006. So how do I stay inspired? Oh man, I'm a big movie fan, and I do draw a lot of inspiration still from feature films and such like that. But a lot of inspiration comes from people that are like me, that are in this industry. Like Colin, of course, and I've got great friends like Bert Monroy and other guys like that I communicate with, and we keep in contact. We kind of feed each other ideas and things like that, and that's really how you keep it going. So, and plus, the fans. Instructors like us would not be anything without their fans and students that love what we do. So that's something that keeps me going as well.
So your advice to somebody that's like really hard on their own work, when is good enough?
When is good enough? Well, when it comes to your skill level, you'll never be good enough. That's the best thing you can tell yourself. Always learn something. But when it comes to a specific piece of art, one thing I always like to tell people is, you never actually finish a piece. You just choose to stop. And it's a feeling you have. When you look at it and say, yes, this is the statement I want to make. I want to stop here. That's when you feel like you're ready to go.
Hi, my name is Matt Hayward. I am on the contributor success team for Adobe Stock. Well, I had been a contributor at Fotolia.com for a number of years, and Fotolia is the agency that Adobe acquired. I volunteered my time moderating the forums while running restaurants and a photography business. Eventually, I left the restaurant business, just diving headfirst into the photography world. The very same day, a job opening came available with customer service at Fotolia. After the acquisition of Adobe, they recognized that really my passion and expertise was with contributors, and so they created a position for me to just specifically work with photographers, videographers, illustrators, and contributors in general. Well, I love the success stories. When someone starts shooting stock from scratch, they don't know anything about it. I give some tips and pointers, and then all of a sudden they become this great rising star and find terrific success. That's what keeps me going.
So, what would your advice be to somebody who's juggling lots of things, but they have one specific thing they want to do full time, but they can't quite get there yet?
That was my life. I mean, I managed restaurants and was miserable at it, and my passion was with photography. It just took a leap of faith. It really did. I didn't have an exit plan. I wasn't making enough money as a photographer to pay all my bills, but my passion was there, and things just had a way of working out. And so be true to yourself. I mean, don't be irresponsible. You've got to pay your bills, but be true to yourself and do what you're most passionate about.
So hey guys, if you're still watching, thanks for watching this video. I know there's a lot of different people there. We've got photographers, photoshoppers, we've got up-and-coming people, as well as very established people in the industry, as well as some of the leading people at Adobe. I didn't do a tutorial this week because I actually just had 2 wisdom teeth removed. So I actually spoke at Photoshop World and Creative Pro Conference with sore teeth. And actually is where I conducted all these interviews. So anyway, guys, I've got a new tutorial coming really soon as I'm healed up. So please hit that like button. If you're not already a subscriber, hit the subscribe button right now. Become part of the Cafe crew. And by the way, I have a question. Out of all those questions, what was your favorite question and who was your favorite interviewee? I'm really curious what you guys think about that. So anyway, thanks for watching. And until next time, I'll see you at the cafe. Okay, so you've got someone that's starting out, and Matt's about to photobomb you.
We can do a double answer.
You want to do a double answer?
Yeah, we'll do a double
Definitely,
answer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so...
You don't have to include this in the normal.
Okay,
We'll do it
so,
like
alright,
that.
I'm going to do something stupid then. Okay, so... For both of you, okay.
Tell us to pick each other's favorite tutorials.
Okay, what's each other's favorite tutorials?
I'll start with you. What do you think?
I think your favorite tutorial is frequency separation.
I worked hard on that.
Or frequency. I'm going frequency separation, or like a selection fringe thing. I think those are 2 of your favorites.
Thank you.
Of your own.
Glad I like that.
I'm picking favorites of our own. I thought
For
pick
me,
favorites of each other.
For me, I mean, when I was starting out, and I was recommended this book by a guy named Roberto Blake, and he's a YouTuber as well. And he recommended me to read the book Layers. And that really, that is, I still to the day say that is one of the best books that helped me build my concept on Photoshop. So I still recommend it to people, whoever is starting out. That's my favorite thing.
We'll have to go find the guy that wrote it.
You guys gonna embrace now?
All right, sorry for photobombing you.
No, that was good.